Let me tell you something, ladies. A man can say a lot of things, but sometimes the most powerful thing he says is only three little words. Now, I'm not talking about the big three words everybody knows. I'm talking about something even more revealing when it comes from a man who is truly thinking about you. Many women think that if a man has strong feelings, he will always express them in big dramatic ways. But the truth is that men often reveal their emotions through the smallest and simplest words. A man might not always write a long message explaining everything he feels, but when he chooses certain words, especially short ones, those words can carry a deep emotional meaning. Men are generally more direct and less expressive, with long conversations about feelings. Yet when a woman becomes important to him, his behavior starts to change in subtle ways. One of the clearest ways this happens is through the way he communicates. A simple message with only a few words can actually say more about his feelings than a long speech ever could. When a man sends a short message that seems simple on the surface, it often comes from a genuine place in his mind and heart. The reason these words matter so much is because men usually communicate with purpose. They do not typically send emotional messages unless something has truly crossed their mind. If a woman appears in his thoughts during his busy day and he decides to send a message about it, that decision itself shows that she holds a special place in his thinking. Many people underestimate how powerful a few simple words can be. Communication is not always about the number of words, but about the intention behind them. A man may be working, dealing with responsibilities, solving problems, or focusing on his goals, yet suddenly a thought about someone important to him appears in his mind. When that happens, it means that person has become emotionally significant. The human mind naturally focuses on things that matter the most. When a man repeatedly thinks about a woman even while doing other activities, it shows that she has captured his attention in a meaningful way. Attention is one of the most valuable things a person can give because it reflects what truly matters to them. In relationships and attraction, thoughts often come before actions. Before a man expresses deeper emotions or takes bigger steps toward commitment, his mind begins to focus on the woman who has made an impression on him. Those thoughts may appear unexpectedly throughout the day. It might happen while he is driving, while he is at work, or even while he is relaxing. When those thoughts appear, they remind him of the connection he feels. Sometimes he may remember a conversation, a smile, or a moment that made him feel good. Those memories trigger emotions that encourage him to reach out, even if it is only with a few simple words. A short message that shows someone is on your mind can reveal genuine interest because it reflects spontaneous emotion rather than forced communication. When feelings are real, they often appear naturally and without planning. A man who truly values someone will find small moments during the day to acknowledge that person's presence in his thoughts. This does not require complicated language or long explanations. The sincerity behind the words is what gives them meaning. A few simple words can carry warmth, curiosity, affection, and interest all at the same time. Over time, consistent small messages can show a pattern of genuine emotional attention. When a man repeatedly reaches out with simple words that show you are on his mind, it suggests that his thoughts return to you again and again. That pattern is not random. It usually happens because he feels comfortable, happy, and emotionally connected when he thinks about you. Human beings naturally return to thoughts that make them feel good, and when someone becomes a source of positive emotion, they begin to occupy a regular space in another person's mind. In many cases, the simplest words become the strongest indicators of growing feelings because they reveal what someone is thinking about when no one is asking them to say anything at all. When a man is truly interested in a woman, one of the clearest signs appears in the way he communicates with her over time. Real interest is rarely hidden for long because emotions naturally influence behavior. A man who feels strongly about someone begins to look for ways to stay connected even during the busiest parts of his day. Communication becomes one of the simplest and most powerful tools he uses to keep that connection alive. When a man makes the effort to reach out consistently, it reveals that the woman holds a meaningful place in his thoughts. Consistency in communication is not something that usually happens by accident. It often reflects genuine curiosity, emotional attraction, and a desire to maintain closeness. Many men are not naturally expressive when it comes to discussing feelings in long conversations. They may not always know how to explain every emotion they experience. However, even if a man is not very talkative about love or relationships, his actions with communication can reveal a lot. When a woman becomes important to him, he begins to show interest through small efforts that repeat again and again. He may send short messages, check in during the day, find simple ways to remind her that she crossed his mind. These actions may appear small, but their repetition creates a strong signal that he cares about maintaining contact. Consistency is important because it separates genuine interest from temporary curiosity. Someone who is only casually interested may send messages once in a while when it is convenient or when they are bored. But a man who is emotionally invested usually communicates in a more reliable pattern. His messages appear regularly, not because he feels forced to send them, but because thinking about her has become natural. When communication becomes a habit rather than an occasional action, it shows that the connection is growing stronger inside his mind. Habits form when something becomes meaningful and rewarding. If talking to someone brings a man happiness or comfort, he will naturally continue doing it. Communication also reflects priority. Everyone has responsibilities, goals, and distractions throughout the day. Work, family, personal obligations can fill most of a person's time. Despite this, people still make room for what truly matters to them. When a man consistently reaches out to a woman even during busy moments, it indicates that she is becoming one of the things he values enough to include in his daily routine. He does not necessarily need long conversations every time, but even a small message can show that she is present in his thoughts. Another important aspect of communication is emotional curiosity. When a man cares deeply about someone, he becomes interested in her experiences, feelings, and her day. This curiosity encourages him to start conversations or continue them because he wants to understand her better. Learning about another person creates emotional closeness, and men who are truly attracted often enjoy discovering the little details that make someone unique. Communication becomes a bridge that allows him to stay connected and involved in her life. Over time, these consistent interactions build a stronger emotional bond. Each message, no matter how short, reinforces the idea that the connection matters. When a man repeatedly chooses to communicate, he is reinforcing the value he places on that relationship. His words may sometimes be simple, but the effort behind them reveals a deeper level of interest. Genuine feelings rarely remain completely hidden, and communication is one of the most natural ways those feelings gradually reveal themselves. Certain short messages can carry a surprisingly strong emotional meaning, even though they appear simple at first glance. In everyday communication, people often believe that longer conversations show deeper feelings, but that is not always true. Sometimes a few carefully chosen words reveal more about a person's emotions than a long explanation ever could. This is especially true when it comes to the way men communicate their interest. Many men prefer direct and uncomplicated communication, and because of that, the words they choose often reflect exactly what is on their mind in that moment. When a man sends a short message that seems small, the emotional meaning behind it can still be very powerful. A message that contains only a few words often appears when someone acts on a spontaneous thought. Spontaneous communication is important because it usually comes from a genuine feeling rather than a planned response. When a man suddenly remembers someone and sends a quick message, it means that person appeared naturally in his mind without any outside reason. These types of messages often come during ordinary moments in the day when a person is not actively trying to start a long conversation but still feels the desire to reach out. The simplicity of the message does not reduce its value. Instead, it often makes the message more sincere because it reflects an honest and immediate thought. Short messages can also show emotional comfort. When someone feels comfortable with another person, communication becomes easier and more natural. They do not feel the need to carefully craft long paragraphs or think about every word. Instead, they speak freely and simply. In many cases, the ability to communicate in a relaxed way indicates that the connection has reached a deeper level of trust. A man who feels comfortable sending a quick message without worrying about how it will sound often feels emotionally safe with the person he is contacting. That comfort usually grows when he believes the connection is mutual and positive. Another reason short messages can carry strong meaning is because they highlight what someone is thinking about in that moment. Human thoughts move quickly from one topic to another throughout the day. Work, responsibilities, plans, and personal goals constantly compete for attention. When someone appears in the middle of those thoughts, it means they have made an impression strong enough to interrupt everything else that is happening. The mind naturally returns to things that bring emotional satisfaction or curiosity. When a man sends a short message during his routine activities, it can reveal that the woman has become part of the thoughts that regularly return to him. These messages can also create anticipation and excitement in communication. A few simple words may open the door for a deeper conversation later. The short message becomes a small signal that invites connection without demanding immediate long discussions. It keeps communication alive while allowing both people to continue their daily activities. Over time, these small signals help maintain emotional closeness because they remind both individuals that they are still present in each other's thoughts. In many relationships, meaningful communication is built from these small moments rather than dramatic declarations. A short message that arrives unexpectedly can brighten someone's day because it shows that another person took a moment to reach out. Even though the words may be few, the feeling behind them can be strong. When someone repeatedly chooses to send these kinds of messages, it often reveals that the connection holds genuine importance in their mind and emotions. Thinking about you is a simple phrase, carries a powerful emotional message when it comes from someone who genuinely cares. At first glance, these three words may appear casual or ordinary, yet they reveal something deeper about a person's thoughts and feelings. When someone tells you they are thinking about you, they are sharing a moment from their mind that you would normally never see. Thoughts are private, and people do not always reveal them easily. When a man chooses to send a message that says, "Thinking about you," he is allowing you to see that you have entered his mind during a moment when he could have been focused on many other things. Throughout the day, people experience hundreds of thoughts that move quickly from one topic to another. Work responsibilities, personal goals, daily tasks, and small distractions constantly compete for attention. Because the mind is often so busy, it naturally prioritizes the things that feel important or emotionally meaningful. When someone appears in those thoughts without any specific reason, it shows that they have made a lasting impression. A man might be handling his responsibilities or focusing on something unrelated. Yet suddenly a memory or feeling connected to a particular woman appears in his mind. That moment of awareness is often what inspires him to send those three simple words. Phrase, thinking about you, also carries honesty because it reflects what is happening in real time. It does not require a complicated explanation or a long emotional conversation. Instead, it simply shares a genuine thought that appeared naturally. This type of message often feels sincere because it is spontaneous. It shows that the person did not need a special event or a long discussion to remember someone important. The thought appeared on its own, and the message became a way to share that moment of attention. When a man sends this message, it often means the woman has become associated with positive emotions in his mind. People tend to think about things that bring them comfort, happiness, curiosity. If a memory of someone appears frequently, it usually means that person has created a meaningful emotional impact. It might be the way she speaks, the way she listens, or the way she makes him feel during conversations. Those experiences stay in the mind and sometimes return unexpectedly throughout the day. When they do, they remind him of the connection he feels. The message can also serve as a small bridge between two people. Even when both individuals are busy or physically apart, the words "thinking about you" remind them that the connection still exists. It creates a sense of closeness without requiring a long conversation. A few words can carry warmth, attention, and affection all at the same time. For many people, receiving this message can brighten their mood because it shows they are valued enough to be remembered during ordinary moments. Over time, repeated expressions like this can strengthen emotional bonds. Each time someone says they are thinking about you, they reinforce the idea that you occupy a meaningful place in their mind. The phrase becomes a reminder that the connection is alive even when life becomes busy or complicated. Although the words are short, their meaning grows stronger when they appear consistently and sincerely. A simple message that shares a thought can sometimes reveal more about someone's feelings than long explanations because it reflects what naturally lives inside their mind. When a man is truly crazy about a woman, one of the first places it shows up is inside his thoughts. Attraction does not always begin with dramatic actions or big romantic gestures. Very often it starts quietly in the mind. A man begins to think about a woman more often than he expected. At first it might be small moments, like remembering something she said or replaying a conversation they had earlier. These thoughts appear naturally, without effort, and over time they start happening more frequently. When someone reaches that point where a person keeps appearing in their mind again and again, it usually means the emotional connection is growing stronger than they realize. The human mind naturally returns to things that create strong emotions. When an experience makes someone feel happy, excited, curious, or peaceful, the brain tends to replay that experience. If a woman makes a man feel understood, respected, or simply comfortable being himself, those feelings become attached to her presence. Later, when he is going about his normal routine, those emotions can trigger memories of her. He might suddenly remember the way she laughed at something he said, or the way she listened carefully during a conversation. These moments stay in his mind because they created a positive emotional impact. Over time, those memories make her presence stronger inside his thoughts. When a man becomes deeply interested in someone, he begins to notice little things that remind him of her. A song might play that reminds him of a conversation they had. A place he visits might remind him of something she mentioned liking. Even a simple moment of quiet can cause his mind to wander toward her. These reminders are not forced. They appear naturally because his brain has started connecting everyday experiences with the feelings he associates with her. When that happens, it becomes difficult for him to go through the day without thinking about her at least once or twice. Thinking about someone frequently also means that person has become emotionally important. People rarely spend mental energy on things that do not matter to them. The mind protects its attention and usually focuses on goals, responsibilities, and things that create strong emotions. When a woman becomes part of that mental focus, it shows she has moved beyond being just another person in his life. She has become someone who influences how he feels throughout the day. Even when he is busy with work or personal tasks, a thought about her may still appear in the middle of everything else he is doing. These repeated thoughts often lead to communication. When someone is on a man's mind frequently, he begins to feel the desire to reach out and share that moment of attention. This is why simple messages sometimes appear unexpectedly. He might pick up his phone just to let her know she crossed his mind. The message may only contain a few words, but the reason behind it is the thought that appeared earlier. That small moment of communication becomes a way for him to express the connection he feels, even if he does not fully explain it. When attraction grows stronger, these thoughts can become part of a daily pattern. The mind begins to check in on the person almost automatically. A man might wonder how her day is going, whether she is feeling happy, or what she might be doing at that moment. This curiosity is a natural result of emotional attachment. When someone becomes important, their well-being and experiences start to matter as well. The more he thinks about her, the more his interest grows, and the more he feels connected to her life. Over time, these repeated thoughts create a deeper emotional presence. A woman who lives regularly in a man's mind often becomes someone he values more and more. The connection grows quietly through memories, curiosity, and positive emotions that keep bringing her back into his thoughts. Even when he is not speaking directly to her, the fact that she continues appearing in his mind shows how much space she has begun to occupy in his emotional world. Real feelings rarely stay hidden for long because emotions naturally influence the way people behave and communicate. When someone truly cares about another person, that feeling begins to appear in small actions, simple words, and repeated patterns of attention. People can try to hide their emotions, especially if they are unsure about how the other person feels. Genuine affection often finds subtle ways to reveal itself. It may appear in a quick message, a thoughtful comment, or a moment when someone reaches out just to remind another person that they crossed their mind. These small signals might seem ordinary, yet they often carry deeper emotional meaning because they reflect what someone is feeling inside without needing a long explanation. Human behavior is strongly connected to emotional attachment. When someone becomes important, mind and heart naturally guide a person to act differently around them. A man who has developed real feelings will begin to show more attention even if he does not openly talk about his emotions right away. His curiosity about the other person grows, and he begins to notice details about their life, their mood, and their experiences. This awareness is not forced. It happens because emotional interest naturally encourages someone to care about another person's happiness and well-being. As that interest grows, his actions start reflecting the connection he feels. One of the most natural ways emotions reveal themselves is through communication. Words often carry emotional energy, even when they are simple or brief. A short message can sometimes express more sincerity than a long conversation because it appears at a moment when someone felt the urge to reach out. When a man suddenly sends a message to someone without any obvious reason, it often means that person appeared in his thoughts and he wanted to share that moment. These moments of spontaneous communication show that the connection is alive in his mind. They also reveal that he values the presence of that person enough to interrupt his routine and acknowledge the thought. Another way genuine feelings become visible is through repetition. Real emotions create patterns that repeat over time. When someone truly cares, they tend to return to the same behaviors again and again because those actions feel natural and rewarding. A man who is emotionally drawn to someone may consistently check in, send messages, or find small opportunities to stay connected. Each action by itself may appear small, but together they form a pattern that reveals deeper interest. Repetition shows that the connection is not temporary or accidental. It suggests that the person continues to occupy a meaningful place in his thoughts and priorities. Emotional honesty also plays an important role in these moments. Even when someone is not openly declaring their feelings, certain words still reveal what they are experiencing internally. A message that shares a simple thought can show vulnerability because it allows another person to see a piece of what is happening in the sender's mind. Admitting that someone crossed your thoughts might appear like a small statement, yet it shows that the person felt comfortable enough to share that private moment. This kind of honesty often appears when someone feels a genuine connection and wants the other person to know they are valued. Over time, these small expressions of attention gradually reveal the depth of someone's feelings. People who truly care rarely remain silent forever because emotions create a natural desire to connect. Even if someone begins by showing interest in subtle ways, those signals often grow stronger as the connection develops. Words, actions, and moments of communication slowly build a clearer picture of how someone feels. The important thing to notice is not only what is said, how often those feelings appear through consistent attention and genuine effort to maintain the connection.